I don't think like that, she says to me. I can't help but feel the subtleties. So if it all expires, I guess the date's not.
Hello and welcome back everyone to a new plan with me, and this time it's for September of 2021. And for September I was thinking a lot about what theme I wanted to do, because I wanted to do something seasonal. So I was thinking about, is September already like really fall themed, or is that more October? And so I thought, okay, September is sometimes something like a month where it could be summery but also fall from the temperature, so it really depends on the year, at least where I live. And so I thought the perfect theme for that would be, in my opinion, sunflowers. Because of course sunflowers are flowers, so they are pretty summery, but also the colors are going pretty well with fall, so it's a lot of yellow or orange, also some browns that are going on with these flowers. And also I googled it, and sunflowers are actually currently blooming a lot, and also in my neighborhood I saw a lot of sunflowers currently just being in their full bloom, and I thought that was beautiful. So yeah, I think that this theme is pretty good for this month. Now for the cover page I chose to do 3 big sunflowers that are just standing there, and then I wrote September on top of that. And for September I wanted to do again a cover page with my alcoholic markers, because I haven't done that in a while, and I think just drawing with markers makes, I don't know, I love to draw with markers. I'm not very like perfect at it, you could say, because I really don't know what I'm doing. I'm just doing something, and in my opinion it turns out okay, and most of the time pretty, so I can see what I wanted to draw. And also for the sunflowers I think it turned out quite good, but please, if some professionals are watching this and saying that I'm doing it completely wrong, I'm not a pro with these markers, but I think that markers are perfectly for illustrating and stuff, and I just love the look at the end because it has so much like power, you could say. So the colors are very bright and it just looks perfect. So it is not comparable to like Tombow markers or something, because alcohol based markers are way brighter and more vivid. So yeah, I was mainly working with 2 different tones of yellow and an orange to blend them into each other and to create the sunflowers themselves. For the center I used 2 different browns, and for the leaves I used 2 different greens. And for everyone who wants to draw with acrylic markers, of course I'm not a professional, I don't know if I'm doing it right, but for me it worked best to do it while they were still wet. So I just used the lighter color first and wetted the paper, you could say, and then I took the darker tone and blended it into the more brighter color, and then I also used the lighter tone again and just tried to blend again. So it is a lot of blending and it does take a lot of time, but it's also a lot of fun, and I think in the end it is totally worth it. Lastly, what I did with the markers was just to letter September on top of the flowers, and for that I just chose the darker yellow again and also the orange, and then I was just blending again to add this color gradient to the lettering, because I just thought that it would look more interesting. And yeah, that's it, what I did with the markers. So yeah, and after I finished this drawing I just cut it out of the paper and then I sticked it into my bullet journal. And what I added lastly was I took my fine liner and I wanted to outline everything, because these markers can get a little smudgy, so I don't know, they really bleed on the paper, they don't bleed through, but I hope you know what I mean. So I just wanted to have more sharp edges, so I used firstly a black fine liner to outline everything, and then I also used a white gel pen to give everything more dimension and to give it a little bit of highlights. So I think the black fine liner and the white highlights make everything even a little bit more, not realistic, but a little bit more three-dimensional. So I really love the look of that, and I do that with almost all of my doodles in my bullet journal in general, so it seemed fitting. And of course I also added more doodles around these flowers. I also added some washi tapes, and what I love to do is to add corners with just a simple marker, and that's what I did too. And yeah, that's it for the general cover page. And for the other side of the page, I wanted to do a quote page. And this time the quote says, "Keep your face to the sunshine and you cannot see a shadow. That's what sunflowers do." I saw that online and I just thought that it was really cute. I also added a lot of sunflower doodles around them, so you can see you don't really need alcoholic markers or any fancy markers in general to create sunflowers. And if you want to know how to doodle sunflowers step by step, I will probably post a doodle time on my Instagram. I do that every month, where I just show a little tutorial for my current theme of my bullet journal and how to do specific doodles, and I will do that again with sunflowers. So if you don't know how to doodle these, then you can check out my Instagram at some point of this month. I don't know when it will come online, but it will, so go over there and follow me. And so yeah, I just drew a lot of sunflowers. I think sunflowers are pretty and pretty easy doodles, so I really loved doing them, and they can look very pretty without doing too much, and you don't really have to know anything about art to do them, which is great. And for the coloring here, I used my Tombow dual brush pens because these do not bleed through paper. So the markers I had to use on a different kind of paper that is for alcoholic markers, so please don't use them on regular paper, but in a journal, Tombow dual brush markers are just perfect. But you can see the difference in what you can do with both markers. So I still think that the Tombow dual brush markers are perfect for journaling, and they would have also been enough for my cover page, but I wanted to do something different. But still, I love how the Tombows work with the sunflowers as well. And now for the monthly setup. I kind of love to do colored calendars in the last months. I don't know, I just did it once and have not looked back since. I will probably do a normal calendar at some point, but right now I just love it because it gives the whole page more color. And so for this month, my colors are a lot of yellows, oranges, browns, and some greens. And yeah, so I chose these two colors, and again, I doodled a lot of sunflowers around it. So that's also like the main doodle this month. So some months I have different doodles, but for this month we mainly have these sunflowers, and I also didn't really switch them up that much. So yeah, that's the main thing that you will see in this setup. It's my calendar. I added on this page also a little space for numbers, so I just keep track of my Instagram followers throughout the month, and also I have a space for my goals of the month. That is actually something I forgot to do last month. In August I had no space for goals, which is something I noticed way too late, but luckily I remember it now for my September setup, and so here's some space for goals. On the other half of this page, I did pretty much a similar setup to what I do every month. So it's just my content planner that I use to plan out different ideas for Instagram posts, for reels and stuff. So there's that. And also I have some space underneath for brain dumping ideas for Instagram and YouTube. And also sometimes, like this time, a little space for a quote. And this quote just says, "Just a white flower in love with the sunshine." And again, sunflower themed. I noticed that there are a lot of sunflower quotes out there, so I guess that you will see a lot of them in this setup and also on my Instagram. Now off to my next spread. It's my habit tracker. So again, a pretty similar style to what I usually do, but sunflower themed. And I really love habit trackers. Last month, so in August, I used it completely. I just used all of my trackers, which was, I don't know, crazy to me because I do use my trackers and I love them, but regularly I would forget at some point about them. But I even used my mood tracker. I usually hate mood trackers and I never ever include them. I did in August. I won't in September, but I did in August and I actually used it, and that's just crazy to me. It's a great start into this new bullet journal, but yeah, let's see how September will. But now back to the spread, and this time for my sunflower doodles I did it this way so that they were going through the whole page, so they were kind of like in the background, so when I would fill it in I still have enough space for that, but they are continuously over the whole page. And I think that that looks really cute because it is like them growing through the different habits. And you know, habit trackers are so that you are growing, because yeah, habits are a good thing. And I don't know if you can see where I'm going, but somehow this came into my mind and I thought that it was a very good match for a habit tracker to have something with big growth and stuff. So yeah, maybe I'm a little crazy, but maybe you get what I mean. And then the other spread on the second page is just my brain dump space. So I have that also every single month, and it's nothing really crazy. I just write out brain dump, add some doodles, and then I also add sometimes these corners with a marker, just so that the page is not that empty, because this is just a space where I can brain dump, as it says, but it's really a space that is the ugliest in my whole journal. So, and that's what I want it to be, so that I can just brain dump, and it's not supposed to be pretty. That's the job of the sunflowers in the corner, so that they possibly just get all the attention and you don't see how ugly this page will be at the end of the month, if you know what I mean. Now we are getting into the weekly spread, and I have to say I really love this weekly spread. I think it is one of the best I've done this far, maybe in my whole year this far. I don't know, I just love it a lot. I cannot express it. But for the lettering, I chose to do every second letter a different color. So it's first green, then orange, then green again, and so on. You can see what I'm going for. And then I just wrote underneath the different days, September, and the date, what it is. And for the lettering of September, I chose the same lettering I did for the cover page. So it is this a 70s style? I don't really know, but I think it might be. So there's that. I still have a lot of sunflowers going on. I have some space for my routines, and the whole layout is pretty similar to my usual weekly spreads, because that's just what works for me. And on the bottom we have a big sunflower and also a list where I can just add my weekly to-dos. So just a space when I don't know when I will do something, but I still need some space to write down to-dos for the week. I just dump them right there, and then I can just write them into the specific day when I know when I will do it. And then of course I also added some washi onto this spread, and for the washi tape I have a brown and a gold and I think an orange one that I'm using for this whole setup, so just in case you were curious. And yeah, for the top of the page I have this time the goals spread in a long form, so I usually don't do that, but somehow it worked for this page. And then next to that I have my tiny calendar where I just have the overview, what week it is of the month. And yeah, lastly, what I just added into this weekly spread was more sunflowers, so just a lot of doodling and a quote on top of that, which just says be your own sunshine, which is, this quote is actually be my sunshine that I found online, but I was like, I don't want anyone else to be my sunshine, I want to be my own sunshine. So like self-empowerment, so I just wrote be your own sunshine, so that it says you don't need anyone else, you need you, and you can make yourself happy. You can be your own sunshine and your own sunflower. So yeah, and then I just added more sunflowers to the empty space that I still had, and then I added just the space for my weekends to plan out, and that was actually all that I did for the weekly spread. I love how it turned out. I love the colors and everything. I love how it goes together, and I think it looks perfect. And lastly, what I want to mention here is how I did the grading of the sunflowers. So I just did orange at the tips and also in the corner, and then I did yellow in the middle of the leaves. So this way you can create the color gradient of the sunflowers, just as a little tip on this side. And now lastly, we're coming to the last two spreads that were actually meant to be in the main setup. So I wanted to do these before I did the weekly spread, but I forgot. And because it's a bullet journal and it's basically a blank notebook, you can do it whenever you want. So I decided I still wanted to have these spreads, and I just did them afterwards. And yeah, the spreads that I'm talking about are a study tracker, because this month is going to be a study month for me, so I have to study a lot. And so there's a study tracker that I did, and on the other page, because it was just empty and I didn't really know what to do with it, I chose to do another quote page. And for the quote, I chose done is better than perfect, and the O of done is a sunflower. I thought that was kind of smart and cute. And I chose this quote because I think it is perfect next to my study tracker. So it reminds me when I'm studying and doing stuff for university that done is indeed better than perfect, because I am a perfectionist and sometimes I'm thinking, oh, I'm doing not enough, I'm doing not good enough. And so yeah, that's why it's there. And yeah, I just did a lot of sunflowers again around it, and then I just colored it in, and that's basically it for this setup and for this page. So yeah, that's basically it for this video. So here you can see a little flip through of the pages that I created, and yeah, my whole setup. And I just love this theme. I love the sunflowers. I think it turned out so great, and it could be a theme that is a little bit summery, but also it goes very well with fall, so it's perfect for what I wanted it to be. And yeah, I'm just in love with how the pages turned out, and I hope you like it as well. As always, you can tell me in the comments, you can message me on Instagram what you think, and yeah, on Instagram of course I will also post new weekly spreads of this month, so if you want to see that, go over there to my Instagram and check it out. And yeah, I hope to see you soon, and I hope you like this video. So if you did, make sure to leave a thumbs up, maybe subscribe if you want to, and yeah, I will see you in the next one. Bye bye!